That was our lovely intro. I forgot to introduce it last time. It was made by a friend of mine. You can look him up on Twitter, Astrostasis. But this is I Can Deal, the NT Board Games official podcast, number 32. I said it correctly. Eat it. Yeah. And I'm Adam, as always, and joined, as always, is
CJ.
And we have another guest. 2 guests in a row.
Wow.
Yes.
Fancy.
And he's been here before.
Yes, this is our first repeat guest.
Yeah, I'm honored, guys.
You should
honored.
be. Yeah. And we teased about him showing up before. And
for like the past year.
Not that many, because we haven't done that many episodes in the past 6 months. Anyways, regardless, we love you, Evan, and we're glad you're here. And
Thanks.
I'm not about to say this just because this is the only reason why you're here.
Right.
But you're here because you wanted to talk about the Jones Theory.
The Jones Theory, it's true.
Would you like to tell our listeners what the Jones Theory means?
For anybody that doesn't know, because at this point it's fairly likely a lot of people don't know, the Jones Theory originated with a different gaming podcast, one of the considerably older at this point gaming podcasts.
No
I know,
way.
crazy talk. But yeah, it was a podcast called Game On with Cody and John, and there's a gentleman on there named Cody Jones, and Cody had this theory in relation to your game collection, and the basis of the theory was you can pick, be it theme or mechanism. I believe he generally stuck with mechanism, but you go through your game collection, whatever is like the best in that particular subject, that's what you keep, and you get rid of the rest. So like worker placements, I pick my best worker placement. This is the one I'm always going to want to play. And then why do I need the others? Because I always want to play this one, which, some people agree with, and some people, like myself, would choose to disagree with. Also, there's tons of overlap and other things you have to take in consideration, et cetera, et cetera.
It does seem like there's a lot of variables to factor in there.
Yeah. So, I mean, it also depends on how you play. Like, do you play based off of mechanism? Do you play based off of theme? Do you play based off of time?
I like how you're coming on this podcast to talk about a theory that you don't subscribe to.
Well,
that's because I subscribe to it.
I was going to say, I was under the impression that I was being brought on because, specifically, I am terrible about subscribing to this. Like, I've got... I just didn't count yesterday.
Evan would shake his head in dismay at us every time we talk about maybe we're going to get rid of a board game. He's like,
get rid of a game. Why are you getting rid of
Why
a
do
game?
you get rid of a game? One, space. They take up space.
Yeah.
But let's assume that space is not a thing, and that they can take up.
But no Star Wars. That was me doing a silent.
No space for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can put that rim shot in post.
Yeah, I could. Or I did. You heard it.
So yeah, I believe if you weren't playing a game, what purpose is it serving?
If you're not actively playing the game, yes, But then again, if you're not actively doing anything,
How about
but
passively playing the game?
But I'm saying, there may be a point where you go back and you're like, oh, this game that's been sitting on my shelf for however long, I have this situation where now I really want to play it. Mm-hmm. Or I have the right group. I have...
That's my fear.
Time,
I
whatever it is,
will
maybe.
never play Risk again. I don't need to play Risk again. I have 5 other games that replace that need to ever play Risk again.
Sure.
If I owned Risk, and I don't, I wouldn't. I would just, get rid of it. Because it's a dudes on the board game. It's the most basic dudes on the board game. It doesn't give you a lot of interesting decision. You can have better dudes on the board games.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you laughing at this?
Say dudes on the board one more time.
Dudes on the board.
And yeah, it's just is that an example of Jones Theory, or is that just an example of a shitty game?
Well, see, that's kind of one of those things that can be debated at this point, because some people have chosen to alter the way they see Jones Theory. Is Jones Theory purely mechanism? Is Jones Theory, dudes on a map? We've got enough dudes on a map. We don't need this one because this one just doesn't play as well, or is something that I can go anywhere and find somebody that has a copy, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I mean, to some degree, yeah, you could totally argue that is Jones theory. Or you could say that if you got rid of your copy of Risk because you've got other dudes on a map games that you would always rather play, then yeah, you've Jones theoried out Risk. Now Jones
turned it into a verb already,
right? Well, but yeah, I mean, from my understanding of it and listening to stuff in the past, it was even a little bit more cutthroat than that. It wouldn't be like, all right, we cut this one because there's others, plural. Mm-hmm. It would be, we cut these others because there is this one. Like what is the dudes on a map game that you would want?
So that I think is interesting only because, like, how do you quantify a game at that point?
Right. And that's where I start to break away from Jones theory. That's where I start to be like, well, that's hard for me because, like, sure, this is a worker placement game. It's also a bidding game. It's also a this. It's also a that. It's this theme. It's this player count. It's this time frame. It's this size. Like sometimes you need something that travels well, and any number of things like that. Or sometimes you want just a big epic game that's going to fill up the entire table.
Right. Which is why Eclipse will never replace Twilight Imperium.
Fair. Expanded Eclipse gets pretty darn big though. Expanded Eclipse gets real big.
Never as big as Twilight Imperium.
I've never seen Twilight Imperium, so I couldn't say.
Well, it doesn't take up space. It's just 14 hours long.
Well, I think Evan is talking about physical space. You're talking about
time and space.
Yes,
time space.
Yes, I feel like there's got to be a better theory.
Well,
because
there have been alterations on it, but yeah.
Yeah, because on one hand, I like that idea, but I was excited for this because, oh yeah, I need to try to trim stuff down on my collection. Mm-hmm. But then I'm thinking about, like, CJ has poked and prodded me about how I have too many dungeon crawlers.
You do have a lot of dungeon crawlers.
Do I?
You kind of do. Like, no joke. If I were to make it, okay, so. Since our last podcast,
I think so wounded right now.
Was I managing at Labyrinth last podcast?
Yes.
I don't remember. Okay, maybe I just started.
Just started.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you walked into my store right now as a regular, I would be like, "Oh, here's this game because it is a dungeon crawler." Because I would that's the kind of game you have a tendency to go for. You do. I've noticed it. You surely have noticed it yourself.
But what about Kemet?
What about Kemet?
What about
Kemet? And
what
that's
about
not
just because this is a good game.
It is a good game. I like Kemet.
X-Wing is not a dungeon crawler.
What do you want us to say? Like,
I don't know. I'm
not saying dungeon crawlers.
It's not like you only play dungeon crawlers.
But going back to this, I mean, I actually don't play them. I just have them.
You do play them. What did you play this last Saturday?
I don't know if Doom's really a dungeon.
That's how you described it to me. Yeah. That's literally how you described it to me.
That's so good.
But before that, I haven't played a dungeon crawler since probably when I did the mini campaign of Imperial Assault, which was months ago.
What about even your mini dungeon crawls? Like, you have some mini games that are basically dungeon crawlers.
What's a mini dungeon crawl?
Well,
give an example.
Welcome to the Dungeon is a mini dungeon crawler. I mean, yes, it's a push your luck game too, but
I've taught so many people how to play that game. I haven't played it in, I don't know,
since our podcast.
Probably. But going back to the Joneses theory.
Sure.
You picked the best dungeon crawl, but, like, just because, like, one is not necessarily better than the other.
Right.
And it's hard to quantify that.
And it's not even comparing apples to apples in your case. Like, you have Myth, which is, like, this huge potential, like, long, crazy story that can twist and turn and whatever, or you could just, like, skirmish it out and, like, sprawling maps, and there's no DM, there's no, like, baddie, like, you're just fighting the board, and that's super interesting. And then you have Imperial Assault, where it's very scripted, these things happen at certain points, it's telling you a very explicit story, you are fighting against a person, and those two are entirely different experiences.
Yeah,
they are both dungeon crawlers, but I couldn't choose one over the other. Like, you could do both.
Yeah, and then, like, Turtles. I've only played the bad guy side of that, but, like, it's got the interesting sharing dice mechanic.
Sure.
and it's all a lot more cooperative focused. And Shadows of Brimstone with the cave, as long as you can get past the combat. I feel like the Joneses theory is kind of a hastily created theory.
Well, so, I mean, in games as a product, nobody's going to just re-implement another game exactly how another game has already done it. Like,
generally speaking, yes.
I mean, so yes, they will reskin a game with Cthulhu on it, put some tentacles on the cover, and call it a new game, and that's fine.
Or Vlaada Shavato will just change it from Mage Knight to Star Trek Frontiers, or
Right.
any number of, Favor of the Pharaoh becomes Colony, and
But for the most part, they introduce enough game variation where it is a new game. Like I would play Pandemic, and then I would also play Cthulhu Pandemic. There's enough variation. They are essentially the same game played differently. So, and games as a product, they are forced to do that to kind of fill a niche, to fill something that's not doesn't exist yet, essentially.
Yep. And going back a couple of years to a game that came out, I would say there's a game that kind of proves that you can't successfully Jones theory everything, because if we were to do that, no one would play anything but 504, because 504
does
has
everything.
You can be like, here's what it is this time. You want that kind of game? There's that kind of game.
Have you actually played it?
I have played one time. I have not played 504 variants.
Yes.
Yes.
And what was your opinions on that?
It didn't really do much for me.
Yeah.
You know why it didn't do much for me? Because it had no theme. Because that's one of the other things is theme. You can talk about mechanisms, but then maybe theme comes into play.
Yeah.
And that's another concern. When talking about like what you keep and what you get rid of. I'm not huge into games that are aliens in space and whatnot. So I generally don't have a huge amount of that in my collection, but I still have some. Some of it I have just because I wanted to give it a shot and see what it's like, and managed to pick it up for, song, basically.
The thrift store.
Not even the thrift store. There's actually a game called Disaster Looms.
I've heard of this game.
Yes. So Disaster Looms, basically, we are pioneering companies trying to shuttle people off of Earth and onto other safe planets. But anyway, got the game for $5 new online. Got its expansion for $5 new online. Haven't played it, and it came with a billion chips. But I was just like, yeah, for $10 of money in the past and a small bit of space on my shelf, I will eventually play this game. And if I don't like it, whatever. It was $10. If I go to the movies,
get rid of a game.
What's that?
It would require you to get rid of a game.
I do actually get rid of games from time to time. And I actually will be getting rid of more games coming up. I actually just tried to get rid of some, but I messed up a math trade. So had a bunch of stuff listed on a math trade, and apparently didn't do the full submission process.
So it just wasn't submitted.
I just didn't get matched.
Were you talking about some other type of sell going on, you said? Or are you just going to
yes.
retry
Yeah,
that?
so once a year, Labyrinth does our used game sale.
Mm.
So I have a bunch of stuff I'll be throwing in there, and
Is it going to be right around Gen Con again?
it'll be the same time of year. Yep.
I think it's too far away. I got a stack of games I need to get rid of, so I guess I'll
just wait.
No, because they're already removed from the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a stack of them, and after a while, I don't think I would be allowed to have a stack of games just sitting there in the open.
Okay. I got nothing.
Yeah. I think other people might not appreciate those games being there.
So here's like we're going to talk about Jones theory and like the extension of that. The implication being is that while it's possible to make a game that's bad, in general, globally, games are improving,
Mm-hmm.
which means based on that kind of notion, if you subscribe to Jones' theory, old games become obsolete.
Most likely, yes. Yep.
Do you... I know you don't subscribe to Jones' theory, but do you believe that old games become obsolete?
I think some do, yeah. Yeah, and again, a lot of it will be dependent on certain things here and there. But yeah, I think it happens. I mean, I will give a for instance, and then of course I'm going to immediately backtrack it, but my for instance would be simple as Quarriors. Quarriors was produced by, was it Lang, Eric Lang, I think?
Yeah.
Was one of the co-designers.
I think so.
And then they took a very similar setup and very similar play and made that into Dice Masters. And so Quarriors kind of went away. Now, of course, Dice Masters has its own problems, and Dice Masters is kind of going away. And now you're seeing Star Wars Destiny, which, again, is, having some similar feel to parts of Dice Masters. And so we're just updating the same sort of mechanism. But, of course, there are going to be people that don't like the changes or don't like the theme change or whatever that will stick to the old stuff. So for them, that's fine. But if somebody was following the progression of, this sort of dice collection and playing game, then yeah, they probably would have let Quarriors go by the wayside and have jumped on one of the newer bandwagons. I didn't, because I don't like the collectible aspect of both Dice Masters and Destiny, and I'm not, not looking to get into that.
Well, I see Quarriors a little different because, I guess technically you could play Dice Masters 4-player, but like Quarriors was a multiplayer game, and Dice Masters is typically one-on-one.
Yeah, but Quarriors plays very well with 2 as well. So
okay, I've only played it once, and
yeah, it is what it is.
It is.
But yeah, so again, it's this whole, here's the theory, and then here's a big asterisk off to the side, basically saying, apply as you see fit.
Yeah.
Or, apply with your own rules variations or whatever the case may be. You don't want too many dudes on the map games? Great. You're going pretty much pure Jones theory by getting rid of some of the dudes on the map that you're just not going to play anymore. But, something like myself, yes, I see the updates in certain games, but I like this old version, so I'm not going to get the new versions. Or maybe, like myself, I will pick up everything and hopefully play it all. My collection's well over 220 games at this point.
I'm probably close to that, but that's also including all the expansions I have.
Yeah.
I've slowly stopped, I don't know if I should put this expansion on there anymore. Because, all the Imperial Assault expansions, I'm like...
Same question to you. Do you think older games are growing more and more obsolete?
Yes and no. So one example of a game that I don't feel it's obsolete, but it's it's going to be given away is Ticket to Ride. I guess some people might say the other maps are better, but I haven't had as much fun with Ticket to Ride unless it was USA. Not to be America, but I've tried Europe, and I was I don't like the tunnel thing or whatever it was, the tunnel mechanic.
Sure.
I didn't like that, and I think I tried Germany once.
Marklin. Yeah.
And it didn't capture the same feel, and maybe because they're more advanced, and I guess this goes along with the whole mentioning of Quarriors and, the original is what you like, but I feel like the games aren't... Ticket to Ride, I don't see it being replaced, but I'm getting rid of it because I know I'm not going to be hey guys, let's play this. Unless it's family, but I've come to realize whenever family's visiting, we're not going to play.
Games aren't being played anyway.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, with the...
Unless it's Telestrations.
Oh, God. So with Ticket to Ride... I'm not getting there. With Ticket to Ride, besides, yes, I think there are a couple maps that are particularly good. Big fan of the UK/PA map that just came out not too terribly long ago. But besides that, I think you could very easily get rid of that, and even so, you can still end up Jones theorying because you might be this is essentially a pathfinding game at heart. So maybe there's some other pathfinding game that you think fits the bill. It's still easy to explain to people.
Karuba.
Like
What?
Karuba, sure.
Karuba.
Suro is another one. Like Suro is a path building game that you can.
They
very
are
easily
all
introduce.
pathfinding games. I do not. They are so different.
So different, exactly.
But like,
Yes.
I actually does Karuba is one of the games where I'm kind of like, oh, this would be easy for family to play because it's like bingo, and you play
Yep.
the maps down.
Yep. Yeah. Once they get the basic gist of like, if you pass a gem, you don't get to pick it up. You only pick it up if you stop there and
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah, it's pretty simple.
I've been meaning to buy a second copy of that game, so I can do 8 players,
I see.
or more than 4, I should say.
Sure.
So, sorry, you were saying Pathfinder games and.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it all just depends on how you're looking at it and what you're deciding is your personal criteria.
I don't know if I could ever even begin to fathom doing theme.
Sure.
Unless
You
I
guys-
do theme per genre. Or game mechanic, because then all my dungeon crawlers would be fine, because every single one of them is different theme. Modern space, future space, past space. Medieval times, Western Cthulhu.
Western Cthulhu. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a matter of what are your criteria. It's all it really boils down to. Like, I have got to get rid of some games. Not just because, of like space or anything, although space is even for me, starting to get to be a little bit of a limit.
Uh-huh.
But also, there's some stuff that I look at it, I'm like, I don't know that I even want to bother trying to play it anymore. Because now I have, in ownership, other games that I know I want to play either more often or at least, for a first time that I'm certain I want to play. And then there's some that I kind of picked up on a whim for $2 or $3 at the thrift shop, and maybe not so much even going to bother with it anymore. And, I like to give everything a go just to see what's interesting or different or goofy about it. I mean, I picked up one game at a thrift shop. Theme is goofy as all get out. It is the whale game. My wife loves it, so I'm keeping it because she loves this game, and if she wants to play it, then sure, we'll play it. I mean, it's an old game with some of the most horrendous illustrations you've ever seen in a rule book, including whales dressed as people, and they have elbows, and there's weird stuff going on. Anyway, but in the game itself, you're just like a whale in the sea.
CJ's going crazy right now.
Yeah, no, it's
What
amazing.
was this?
It's amazing.
It's like it's like the first time you hear somebody describe
The Raptor game?
Raptor game's so good.
That's the Raptor. Wait, no, not Raptor.
Oh, okay.
No,
evolution, or not evolution.
There's like this
Raptor cannibal raptor.
Cannibal Raptor. Yeah, something like that.
Okay,
like
that one I don't know.
Okay.
Like CJ, we both saw it at MagFest. CJ actually got to play it.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I got to play. I got to participate. I got to watch it being played by other people as I sometimes rolled a dice. That game is broken.
You build a raptor, right?
Yes, and sometimes it has like tentacles for arms, and sometimes it has tail feathers, and sometimes it has elephant legs.
What is the game element to this? Because it kind of just at this point it's breaking that whole like, am I a game or am I an activity?
You get to fight
Each other or something.
each other with them, and then you get to eat parts of your
foe.
yourself.
Oh.
Oh,
You eat yourself.
Um,
I guess that's why they call it
Kinda-
Cannibal Raptor, but
kinda
that's more
gnaw this
like
part.
auto cannibal raptor.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but like you can also like you need energy to fight and lay eggs, and the eggs are the points. But in order to like gain the energy to lay eggs, you need to fight other people to gain pieces off of them to eat them.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
So your whale.
Yep.
You found that at the thrift store, right?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's just some weirdo thrift shop find that happens to click well with my wife, and so we'll play it from time to time because it's just goofy, silly fun and puts her in a good mood. And sometimes we'll play other games at that point, or sometimes we'd just play a quick game and be done with it, and it was just silly. It's not a fantastic game. It's not the worst game ever, but it's kind of just a roll and move with bizarre illustrations in the rule book. Yes,
whales with elbows
and human clothing. Yeah, all sorts of weird stuff.
Do you have much success with thrift shopping?
Yeah, I do.
Well, not just finding games, but finding games you enjoy in life.
Yes, okay. Absolutely. Now, granted, some of them are games that I have played before and I've always been kind of on the lookout for, and I see them and I just instant grab them.
Okay.
Sometimes it's companies that I know I can trust make relatively good games, and as the minimum, their games are relatively good, and at the max end, they're really good games. So I'll just keep an eye out for any of them and pick them up if I don't have them. But yeah, I mean, like there's a 2-player game that came out years ago by Thames and Cosmos called Jumbo. And these days, if you want to buy a used copy of Jumbo, you are going to pay probably at least $40. I found an entirely mint condition version at my thrift shop for like $3, and it's a great game. I love it. It's a fun little 2-player game. And yeah, I will keep it and I will play it. And if I ever do decide to get rid of it for whatever reason, it's also a nice moneymaker. So, yeah, there's definitely reason to go to thrift shops. Found a copy of Bootleggers there before as well, which was like it had Mayday sleeves and everything was good to go. So yeah, there's definitely the ability to come across some really good stuff. Does it happen all the time? Absolutely not. I went there today, did not pick up a single thing because it was all just...
And you've already got everything.
No.
So, CJ, you're somewhat subscribed to the Joneses theory.
Yep.
So, where does Star Realms and all those other games that they made that are pretty much the same thing fall into this Joneses theory?
Well, Star Realms and ... comparing it to...
Well, like Star Realms and Epic and
Epic's
Hero.
not a deck builder.
You
Hero
can
Realms?
deck build.
No.
Oh, wait, no, you can't. You're right. All right, Hero
It's a deck construction, not a deck builder. Hero Realms... So I will compare them, Hero Realms and Star Realms.
Yeah.
They are essentially the same game.
Yep.
Did not get Hero Realms. Fuck that shit. Do not sell me the same game. And they do have like the ability to have different starter decks based on like character class. Like you can be a thief and that has a different starter deck, or a wizard that has a different starter deck. That's interesting. Just give me a different starter deck for Star Realms. Just stop putzing about and just like that doesn't change the game enough for me. It is essentially identical.
So I'll give you an easier mechanism that I think a lot of people out there have experience with. Like, oh yeah, I've played a ton of these, and yes, I would totally cut certain ones. Social deduction games. Mm-hmm. Where you've got a bajillion different social deduction games.
Yep.
Which ones do you cut? Why do you cut them? Why do you keep others? Now, granted, if social deduction as a whole isn't your thing, then that's the topic's out the window, but still.
I think there's no reason anymore ever to play Resistance or Avalon.
Yeah.
I think Secret Hitler killed both of them dead.
I wouldn't go that far.
I absolutely go that far. Like, it is...
Well, I know a group that if I were to send you into that group and you were to say that sentence, I'm pretty sure you would not come out alive because like they play Avalon nonstop all the time, and it's the perfect game for them. And I agree. I'm not necessarily that Secret Hitler is end all be all. Just that
I just heard you say
just that. Well, I haven't played it enough. I've played it once. But yeah, no, just in that there are certain games that for you it's like, yep, this one killed all these others.
Yeah. It probably doesn't kill Coup. Coup's different enough.
Kills itself.
Well, just through overplaying, maybe. And I don't think that it kills games like Good Cop, Bad Cop. Those two different social deduction games. One's a team, like, and you have this investigation period where you're looking at everybody's card. What are you laughing at?
They're both teams.
Not in the same way. The goals for each team in Good Cop, Bad Cop are identical.
True.
They are symmetrical. In Secret Hitler, not at all symmetrical.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I followed along.
So there's enough variation on that play, and then you have games that are like Battlestar. Like that's going to be a hard one to improve on, I think.
Well, I mean, there's going to be people that claim that you have improved on it with things like Dark Moon because you've cut it shorter, and some people don't like the length of it.
I've played Dark Moon.
Don't you still own it?
I do still own it, and I do own it because it is faster. Like if I want to play that game faster, I'll play Dark Moon. If I want to play that game and time is not an option, a limit, then Battlestar is coming out.
Have you played New Angeles?
Not yet.
So one of my coworkers was comparing New Angeles to the latter part of BSG, like when you start getting a feel for who everyone is, and it's just immediately a little bit more cutthroat. So I mean, it's again, I think there's
Is that a social deduction game? It's on my list because I like the Android universe.
To some degree, it's basically like everyone's a corporation. You're going to pull cards as far as like who you love, who you hate. And I could be totally wrong here. If I'm wrong, whatever. I have not played it myself.
Okay.
But yeah, it's you're going to have goals based off of cards you pull, and you're trying to.
So you have secret agendas like network.
You have secret agendas, yes.
Okay.
And it could be that multiple people hit their secret agendas, or it could be that one person's secret agenda is going to trump that of others, or any number of different possibilities. So you don't really know what's happening until you get to the cut of it. But yeah, that's another one where we're all putting in and saying like, yeah, I can help this thing happen, or I cannot help this thing happen, or whatever. And it's very quick and cutthroat. And I mean, we have had some people getting rowdy in the store when playing this one. Like you can hear them from at the front of the store when they're way in the back of the store.
I was already on the fence of getting that game. I think you just convinced me. Do you have a copy?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I might be getting that with Ennis.
There you go.
Do you have a copy of Venice?
Yes, we have multiple copies of Venice.
Wasn't sure because I thought I heard that a lot of people like couldn't find it.
It had gone out. It just came back in like Thursday or Friday. So yeah.
So, and then there's this other notion that not even mechanic or theme, but there's game feel.
Sure.
Like, and I'm gonna throw one out here. And if you guys haven't played both of these games, or maybe even if you have, you might look at me and be like, "What the fuck are you saying? This is stupid."
Probably.
Terra Mystica.
No.
And Scythe.
I have played both of them. I can't really
have
say
no
that
idea what you're talking
I
about.
can't really say that I feel like they feel the same. Yeah, no, I can't really say that I feel that they feel the same.
So playing the game is not the same. The
Correct.
feeling, the way that my mind has to like change its
around it,
perception of like around like how I'm going about this. Like you forward plan in Scythe a long time.
Ideally, yes, absolutely.
And you have to do that in Terra Mystica. Like Terra Mystica just makes it a little bit easier for you on how to do that because they set up the ladder of different point values that are happening in each future round.
Right.
Scythe doesn't do that, but you still need to future plan the way that your card, your faction, and your industry card interact with one another. Like you have to learn that you have to master that game. That's where that game is played. And
what you have in front of you is absolutely the play of the game.
And being able to map your moves out 5, 10, 15 in advance, like you have to doing both of those things in Terra Mystica.
I don't know that I agree with that.
That's fine. We can disagree. I allow it, and we don't even have to argue it. I walked out of playing Scythe being like, I feel the same way. Mm-hmm. Like me personally, I feel the same way playing Terra Mystica. Just like the way I needed to approach playing this game. I'm sorry, I'm completely out of this.
It's okay.
But I mean, going to the whole theory discussion, does that mean that you would cut one versus the other?
I think I don't. I own Terra Mystica. Mm-hmm. I don't own Scythe. One, fucking impossible to find.
The only way we can get it at the store, people pre-order it, and when it comes in, it goes straight to them, and it never even hits the shelves.
And so I don't know, like that. I don't even know if I would get Scythe. Like, it's a fun fucking game. Mm-hmm. I love that game. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they're both so puzzly.
They are. So this is where I start to get surprises, especially coming from you guys, because you guys do seem to like theme in a lot of your games. I am surprised hearing from you that it's even a question, because I feel like Scythe is just rich with theme and beautiful art and everything. And Terra Mystica, it's a great little puzzly game. People can spend hours and hours playing it and never feels old, sure, but it's dry as all get out. Yep. I mean, I'm these red cubes, you're these yellow cubes.
Well,
we got these different cube shapes. That's cool. This cube is a different shape. It means it's this kind of building. Like, there's not really good theme there. And like, yes, you look at like, oh, well, my faction's the Frost Giants. That's cool. Looking at your stuff on the board there, you're blue cubes. It's just like.
So you need to update your components, is what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying at that point I could see why, the theme would start to come into consideration when you're thinking about the mechanisms. Like, the mechanisms, you're getting this nice puzzly game that you feel is really good in these various ways, and it feels very similar. So now you move on to like step 2. What, would I play this one or would I play that one? Would I play Terra Mystica or would I play Scythe? If I'm feeling they're the same feel to them as far as gameplay, then I would have expected from you, and I personally would have gone to Scythe because it's gorgeous to look at.
So Scythe is gorgeous to look at, and there is one element to Scythe that really throws not only that game but that entire comparison just like to the wolves, and it's the events cards.
Sure,
because they're so dry and funny and unpredictable. And just, that was a weird inclusion to that game.
It was, but it was fantastic.
Yes, and it took a lot of the puzzle out of it.
It messed with the puzzle a lot. That's for sure. I think the other thing that I'm surprised isn't pushing one of them to the curb versus the other, and again in the same direction. With Scythe,
just not like Terra Mystica?
I don't mind Terra Mystica at all, and I will totally play Terra Mystica, but when thinking about the comparison that you've set up, in Terra Mystica, if you're playing as the one faction, you're playing as that faction, their powers all the time. Yep. In Scythe, you have those 2 different boards, and those boards can shift.
Yep.
So it's giving sort of a greater variance in your replay. Which maybe you want that variability, maybe you don't. Maybe you want to have that same faction choice so that it is just
Mystica's got like 30 different factions, though. So,
is that what that mean?
It's a lot.
For some reason, I thought it was only like 12 or something, but I could be crazy.
They're double-sided.
Never played.
They have a lot, and then there's the expansion that adds like 4 more. So, I don't know what the rule or like the variation for. I guess it would be No, I don't know. 36? No. Are we counting the expansion?
Why not? If
36.
we're counting the Terra Mystic expansion, yes, we'll count the Scythe expansion. So yeah, it's
36 different combinations.
sure.
6 times 6. Right.
Yep.
Are you going to want to play as all the combinations? Use all the combinations?
I mean, some of them are just not variable enough. Like, then they're all largely the same, just very minor differences.
But sometimes those minor differences can actually make all the difference.
Yes.
So. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, I think there's something to be said for that. The feel of the game, sure. If I want a light racing sort of game, that's not necessarily saying what the mechanism is as far as a race goes, but it has that same feel of like light, quick, easy to explain. Do I need 30 of these in my collection? No. I don't. I need to cut it down. So, yeah, it's all how do you set up your criteria for what you're going to cut out, and then make your choices. Like start figuring out what needs to go and what needs to stay.
But to answer your question, if I got Scythe, I might get rid of Terra Mystica. And that's because, like, if I wanted to play a puzzly forward, like, essentially a project management game, if I want to make it sound like the least fun game ever made, then yeah, that's the one I'm going to reach for.
Adam's all quiet over there.
Yes. Well, you can't contribute to this conversation.
Yes, I can't.
I did want to ask
boxes.
you a question. So this is based on like the notion that old games grow obsolete. Do you feel that there is a game or games that cannot be improved on, and that like they've reached it? That's it.
Ticket to Ride. I mean, it's in my mind just because.
I know, but that's also untrue because they did improve it by putting out an expansion.
But they didn't because I don't think it's improved.
The Alvin and the monsters.
Alvin and Dexter.
Yeah. You're right. That expansion is, but it's out. They can't improve. I when I get rid of Ticket to Ride, I am going to keep Alvin and Dexter. But that was a fun thing, and gave you something else to do with your pointless train cards you can't do anything with.
Sure.
So I don't know if you played it. It basically lets you to move
Yep.
this alien or dinosaur around the board, and if you move the most, you can potentially get a bunch of points, like an extra ticket. Now, any games that this is all subjective because I could say a game and then
Well,
tomorrow.
I'm asking you. I'm not asking what you think everybody else should agree with.
This is true. First, I don't know. What is a game that I gotta look at my phone. You can ask Evan.
So,
I know you're asking me.
Well, while you're thinking about that, I'm actually going to pose another one to both of you, which may help kind of figure out how each of us cuts games.
Mm-hmm.
Of games that you have cut, what has been the most recent game? And I don't mean that you've cut most recently. I mean one that has been
The
produced.
newest game?
Yeah, like what's the newest game that you've decided to cut after you've owned it, and what made you cut it?
Well, I mean, I think that's a lot easier because we kickstart a lot of games, and then some of them end up being shit.
He cut one, and then I'm about to cut it.
The same
because
game.
he gave it to me. No, he gave it to my girlfriend.
Just kind of sneak it into your apartment by giving it to her.
Yes, and I'm now cutting it. And to be we talked about this in the last episode, I believe, and neither of us tried to play. This is bad, but we had issues with it.
Kill Shakespeare.
I was going to say, throw it on the fire. Yeah, okay, Kill Shakespeare. Sure.
It's the game that even IDW has like
Disowned.
decided to stop advertising. Like it just shows nowhere on any of their sell sheets.
Lift Off, Get Me Off This Planet. I don't think it could be improved.
Okay.
I think the different planet escape points are good. They have good variations. Oh, wait, no. Found the flaw. Gargalore kind of sucks. And I've been thinking of house rules to make them better. Or at least more fearsome and make people actually want to try to use them.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't count. And I can't do games that have expansions out for them.
Yeah. I mean, are there games that you feel like the expansion has made the game like
Karuba.
that much better?
It has no expansion, but I feel like it doesn't need anything. Like, what are they going to do? Add different things to pick up?
Well, it's not even adding things. It's like if they were to try and re-implement Karuba in a different way, is there anything that you can see, or is that game just did it nail it?
I think it nailed it. I mean, it's a light and simple game that it's not much to change. You could, I actually prefer that theme. I like that theme. You could put it on something else, and I don't think it would resonate as much. It's kind of cool exploring the jungle and finding gems and trying to get to the secret temple. But like, I mean, sure, space. I guess you could have cool spaceships, but I don't know if doesn't make as much sense.
Okay.
Everything is either space or Cthulhu.
That's my collection.
Yep.
I actually only have two Cthulhu games out of like 100 plus.
Eldritch Horror and...
Oh, 3. Eldritch Horror, Mythos Tales, and Brimstone.
Okay.
I can't think of any other. And I'm not counting like King of Tokyo.
Kaiju are not Cthulhu.
What?
Kaiju are not Cthulhu, yes.
Well, that's a Kraken. Of course, they did just come out the Cthulhu.
That's Kaiju.
Anyways,
Moving right along. Yeah,
I can't.
So what is a recent
New game?
acquisition? And let's go ahead and put,
Are we taking
accidental crap Kickstarter to the side.
Kill Shakespeare's got to be. I mean, because I got it last Christmas.
I would say the most recent game that I'm likely going to be getting rid of. I haven't gotten rid of it yet.
Sure.
But is going to get immediately replaced. Is probably there's two of them actually. Chaos in the Old World. And Merchants and Marauders.
Just had somebody looking for that the other day.
Send him his way.
So, Chaos in the Old World, I think when that game came out, it was like the new awesome like mechanic. I loved the way that like they used PowerPoints and you filled the map and you had like this completely asymmetrical. Everybody had a different goal. Everybody had a different power. Super interesting. God's War, the new Sandy Peterson game, is basically made that and then inflated it. Like, even the figures. Like, they're no longer this size, they're now this size. It's basically like Cthulhu
War, but yeah.
But bigger. Even bigger than the Cthulhu Wars.
At some point you just have, like...
Takes up the entire table.
Yeah, just buy a bunch of action figures.
For real. And, like, the old school, like, 12-inch, 18-inch action figures.
They're up to 20 inches now, the figures that
okay.
don't bend my elbows.
But yeah, I think that game was good. I do not see myself picking it off of the shelf after I get God's War.
Sure.
One, it's going to feel really good to put God's War on the table, like, and just watch everybody's face, everybody watching my face, just that.
So much face.
So much face. So much
All of the face.
miniature.
I don't have any new games. Like all the games I'm thinking to get rid of, or maybe Nanook,
Sure.
Forbidden Desert.
Why would you get rid of Nanook?
I mean that's actually one that I just thought of tonight that to get rid of. 'Cause I don't know.
This is perfect. So here's a game that like, and these are old games, and I guess they would have to be super old games and still being played at this point to be considered like perfect game. Liar's Dice.
Sure.
Nanook kind of re-implements. It has similar like bluffing mechanics, but that's a pretty solid game.
There's a game that just came out that's kind of replacing it, which is Cup of Bluff, where it uses a little tile mechanism in addition. So
Does that come with like a big goblets, or it comes with like plastic goblets?
No.
Okay.
No. This one actually, when you look inside of it, it looks like a little styrofoam coffee cup, but that's actually your die cup, and you flip it, and you can. There's little slots in like the bottom of the cup, so that you can actually like look down into it, so that you can see it, but you don't even have to do the peek. So you don't have any chance of anybody like seeing what you've actually rolled, etc. But nevertheless, in that one you lay claim to like, oh, I've got this number that is a tile that's out on the board, or that's a tile that somebody else already owns. And there's an additional mechanism where the tiles have a certain number of pips on them, and you can trade in a set of tiles. Like, let's say I trade in 3 tiles that each have 1 pip on them, and I'll take the one tile that has 3 pips on it. That's a perfect 18. It's pretty darn difficult to roll a perfect 18, so I'm just going to go ahead and trade that in and get it, like, honestly, as it were. But yeah, that one has taken Liar's Dice and has added just a little bit more to it and has made it a little bit more interesting.
Okay.
I think...
I love Liar's Dice. It's kind of difficult to find, like, a nice copy of it. I'm sure you could just construct it yourself with some...
I picked one up at a thrift shop.
Dice cups and... but, yeah. I'll have to check out this...
Cup of Bluff.
Cup of Bluff. It's a stupid name.
The reason I picked Nanook is just, I don't know, I feel like every time I've played it, people didn't enjoy it.
I love that game.
Maybe you just haven't been playing it when I bust it out. So I'm like, I never think about bringing it, and so it doesn't get played.
I'll trade you. I don't know if I have it you want, but...
I don't know either. Your collection is, who knows what it is since I've seen it last.
I know, you haven't been over in a while.
And you've bought a lot of games. And
I'm glad either of you have actually seen my collection.
Nope. You gotta take pictures.
Yeah, I have to reorganize. Stuff is everywhere right now.
But, I mean, I'm trying to... I need to go through the collection and look. But there is one game that is on the chopping block that I've mentioned before, and I just totally blanked. Last Friday.
Oh, yeah.
The
yeah,
game
we
I
talked
got
about
from
that
Ikea.
not too long ago. Yep.
That's brand new.
Yeah. We played it again at MagFest. CJ was the maniac.
I had a great time.
It was so long.
It was a long game. It's too long.
Yeah.
It's too long.
And as we've said, if you don't do the first initial setup 100% correctly and don't move correctly, the rest of the game is...
And that game, because of the way that the board is set up and how static it is, like, you theory craft that first setup. Like, there's probably, like, 2 or 3 optimal routes. And if you just don't do those routes, then you're just... That's it.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big flaw for a hidden movement game.
Especially the theme.
Yeah.
Like, I got that because I thought, I was like, oh, this is going to be fun. Like, oh no, somebody's running around scary. And just the fact that, CJ's talking about this theory craft and really thinking about your first move, it just turns it into this super heavy thing where, like...
You want it just to be the fun of it and not so much
you
the,
want nuns on the run.
Pretty much. And so that game, CJ would have to convince me to keep it. Because I don't know if I feel like teaching to other people, because I will have to be the maniac, and then I will have to, quote-unquote, suffer through it. So, it's just...
I mean, I think there's other hidden movement games that do have the potential for suffering from that same sort of problem. If you get an experienced player playing as Dracula in Fury of Dracula, you're going to have a damn difficult time ever stopping them, because there are certain paths and certain times to drop certain things that are going to be
impossible.
Darn near, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I played Fury of Dracula as Dracula. First time playing it. James, if you're listening, I'm sorry. I murdered them. Like, it wasn't even a competition. It was bad. It was so bad. And it felt great. for me.
Sure.
But I don't know. It's always interesting when you have that one versus many mechanic, because who's trying to have fun here? Like, what side is the side that's having fun? I think everybody else playing
Last Friday
had tons of fun when I was playing the Maniac. My smoke was coming out of my ears, not because I was angry, but because I was just trying to outthink everybody.
Uh-huh.
And that was damn difficult because I had just like boxed myself in the corner after the first round.
Yeah.
But yeah, and doing that sustainably for 3 hours was exhausting.
But I mean, that may also be one of those things that's right given a certain situation. If you have somebody who is a heavy gamer and just games all the time and has these sort of like theories as to what's the opening move in order to have a chance of staying alive, and then you've got this group of other people that are like, "Hey, I've played some games. We'll try stuff out." That may be a nice sort of game to have when you have sort of like a bunch of not so experienced people and then yourself, and you can be like, all right, well, I will run this part because it gives me this big meaty thing to sort of grind through, and I enjoy that part of it, and then you guys can just kind of have the fun of like the exploration, crazy shit happening, blah blah blah. So it may just be an experience issue, like the kind of experience that you want. Maybe that it's more of a game for CJ and less of a game for you. Or less of a game for you as the
Maniac, yeah. As I've gone on record and said, like, it was slightly more enjoyable playing as the counselors.
I felt the opposite.
You didn't like playing as the counselors?
I thought it was fine. I thought it was fluffy.
I mean, like, I knew playing the Maniac, I was like, I'm sure it's probably I would have more fun playing as the counselors. But I mean,
I was also the only one that died as a counselor. Not that affects my decision. It's just after the first round, like, a lot of the threat is kind of the teeth have taken out of that game.
Yeah, like, it's almost like, I wonder if it would be better if you house ruled the first chapter into something better.
Yeah,
like maybe
more tense, more fucking tense.
Like, maybe you had to go get the keys to get into a cabin to get the keys to escape the place.
Or the only people who you could only use your own key to get into your own cabin.
Yeah, that was one of the things. Not getting like, oh, look, you can buddy up, and then you can only. But I don't know. Anyways, issues of that game. That game is like, I want to give it another chance, but I don't think I do, and so it's kind of like in the limbo. It's like, oh, should I get rid of it?
Do you have other one versus all games?
Yeah.
Okay. So you have essentially
Jones theory. It's all back.
There you go. But yeah, I mean,
I have dungeon crawlers. Did you have to ask that question?
Yeah.
I mean, you had to ask that question to get me thinking about it.
Right. But I mean, you've got one versus alls, and you play this one, and you're like, this one is not the one I'm going to bring to the table, so why keep it?
This is true.
I think if I had my choice between Last Friday or like Fury or Dracula, I would go with Fury. Like,
fair.
There's more to it, and
it's not more to it. It's just a better constructed game.
Well, yeah.
Like the map is a little.
It
more
is
interesting.
what, 3rd edition.
Yeah.
The way that they have the cards set up as your trail is a lot more interesting as opposed to like, oh, I get to see you every 3 rounds. Like,
yeah.
Being able to lay traps in your wake is a lot more interesting.
Somebody was saying some game, like a, hate to say indie, but I'll say it anyways, came out before Last Friday, and people said they would rather play that, or some people did. It was like Campsville, Camp Slaughter?
Camp Slaughter, maybe? Maybe.
I want to make sure I don't.
Like
I'm
the
not
name
getting
of the game. I just can't remember if that's the right game.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say Slaughter because I know there's Slaughterville, which is kind of like a slasher, but it's not like dudes on anybody. It's not a board. It's more like you have cards and you have a mystery, and you can buy extra mysteries.
Sure.
Maybe you might like Spectre Ops.
Maybe.
Or maybe you just don't like hidden movement games.
No, I like Nuns on the Run. I OP'd you guys when we did the variant.
I don't know what you're talking about. It was perfectly fine.
And, like, I had fun. It was a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
it just needs to be tweaked a little bit. But, like, I don't mind hidden movement games. I don't. It's just, like I said before, then we can end that discussion, is if you're having one against many, the one should feel
Powerful.
yes, and not the same level of power as the many.
Yep.
Individual minis.
Agreed.
So you can't have a counselor the same strength as a maniac if there's only one maniac and has to be 5 counselors. But yeah, that perhaps I should get rid of it. I don't know. I mean, I feel like the only reason I'm holding on to it is because CJ.
Oh. Well, dude, we have so many other games to play.
I know. You haven't played Turtles. We need to start an Imperial Assault campaign.
Mm-hmm.
You want to play Doom. I'd be interested. You'd probably be interested in playing the DM as the Doom, when you're like building your deck and building your
My demons.
And yeah, you pick your demons, you pick your deck, and stuff and things and
Stuff,
yeah. So yeah, maybe I will. But the problem is, I can't wait till August.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
I mean, my suggestion there would be if you have things that you think will go for a high dollar amount and things that you think will go for a low dollar amount, get rid of the low dollar amount ones now and keep the high dollar amount ones for then. Because
See, I don't even know. Like, I kind of wish I was there for your auction to see which one of my games like came for a lot, or somebody was like, "Yeah, I'll take that for $5."
so you can do. There's 2 different things that we do at our
I
auction.
did both of them, but tell.
Okay.
By the way, Evan here works at Labyrinth Games and Puzzles in Washington, D.C. For the Eastern Market
Yes.
Metro stop.
Yep. So yeah, once a year we're given this sort of leniency to do a used game sale, and it's not us selling games; it's people selling games through us, essentially. There's 2 different days. The one day is all auction. The other day is just sort of think garage sale-esque. The auction day, you've got 2 different types of auctions going. You've got live auctions and you've got silent auctions. Silent auctions, they'll pull X number of games per hour, set them out. People go around writing their bids down. Whoever has the highest bid at the end of that time, gets to walk away with it. Live auctions, obviously, you're just bidding one right after the other. With all of that, you can set prices and say, like, I don't want it selling for any less than this price. And if nobody would have picked it up at that price, you can either put it to the next day where it's garage sale style, or you can just take it back. The garage sale style has, I believe it's 3 different price points. So at the beginning of the day, it's the most expensive, but there's a bunch of stuff there that maybe wasn't in the auctions. And then you're setting your price for all these things, for these 3 different price points. Then it goes down a little bit cheaper, then it goes down to like the rock bottom price, and if it doesn't sell then, it goes. That being said, last year when we got down to rock bottom price,
like
and
3
like
games
the
left.
few things that didn't sell, like it was mostly stuff that you look at it and you're like, okay, I don't think this person really wanted to get rid of this game because like their prices were like regular MSRP, $2 below MSRP, $4 below MSRP, and it's like, yep, okay, so you didn't really want to sell this. It wasn't like you were dropping the price down to next to nothing.
It's funny. So I put everything that I had up there, like 25% of that SRP, which I think is what your recommendation was.
Probably. Yeah.
What I got back, like if I had gotten only that, I would have gotten maybe $60, maybe. Instead, I got like
140.
150.
Because we both got around the same amount.
Yeah.
So
give or
one
take
of
10.
the big reasons for that, I can almost guarantee you were doing the auction days,
Yeah.
not the garage sale day. And with the auction days, we have a lot of really, really good folk that come down and know. So I should probably explain a little where the money goes. when you guys sell something through the store, a percentage comes back to you either as cash or as store credit. Yep. The other percent gets split between a few different programs that we run. The programs benefit local schools, where we will give games to teachers in DC or give them, a nice price break on things and take from that fund. A little bit of it goes towards the demo fund so that we can keep having fresh demo games for the store. Actually, I suppose it's only the 2 spaces that it goes, not 3. But nevertheless, so we have people that will come in and buy stuff at the auction, basically at MSRP, because it doesn't have much wear on it, and they know that that additional money is going to help fund those 2 programs that they want to help fund. Mm-hmm. So they're getting something out of it. They're getting a game that's maybe lightly worn, but it's a game that they wanted anyway, and now they're helping benefit these programs. Plus, there's occasions when people are selling games that, like, you just can't get right now. Like you were talking about earlier today. If you wanted, like, Inish, and Inish wasn't available, there are people that would pay more for it. Scythe, there's people that are paying, $110, $120 easy. Well, at this point, it's not too bad, but still, I mean, when we sell it at the store, it's MSRP, which is $80. It's not insane, but people are turning around and selling it crazy prices online. So that is the one time a year where people will come in and spend like MSRP for used games or more to help fund the program. Now, it doesn't happen with all the items.
Feeling good about it because they're helping out.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a really good way to get some good money for your games, like you did, and still, helping out this program as well. So
yeah, to go back, I don't know which of my games would bring in a lot. I guess Forbidden Desert and Ticket to Ride could potentially, but I don't know because they're so common.
Not too much. Yeah, they're really common. I mean,
especially Ticket to Ride.
They are games that we keep in what we're currently calling our intro into modern gaming section. It's like these are the games that a lot of people know.
That's why I had them.
Give you that sort of feel of like, here's what a modern game is. Here's choice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's modern games, basically. It is how much choice do you have? Rolling moves, no choice. End of the line. But, other modern games, like, you've got these limitations, but it's all open. What do you want to do? Mm-hmm. But so, I mean, those are both very common intro to modern games, and they still sell a lot, so somebody will buy them. I guarantee you, if you put them up at the right price, somebody will buy them.
Yeah.
They're just not going to go.
Well, there's Math Trades on Board Game Geek, and then there is somebody in the DC area who started a
thread.
Yeah, a thread for, like, they call it like a DC area flea market. And we actually have a friend who was very successful, almost too successful because she ended up buying more than she sold. So it's like, I
tried to go on there and try to buy something, and I hounded the guy for like 3 or 4 weeks on end, and then finally just gave up.
Oh, okay.
He was like, I'm selling this game for this price, and I was like, I will gladly take that game for that price. And he was even on my way to work, like the way I drive in. He's in College Park. I drive right past the College Park exit. I could have gone 10, 15 minutes earlier and grabbed it from him.
Did he just not respond, or
he
was like,
he responded on 2 different occasions, both with excuses as to like why he wasn't able to meet or sell or whatever, and then he just stopped responding. Okay, don't muddy the waters if you're not going to actually do the trading. I mean, even if he did, he had a set price. It's not like he was like, "Hey, I've got this other guy bidding me this much. Do you want to bid more?" Because I probably would have paid a little bit more too, but.
Yeah, maybe he had like seller's remorse. He's like, I don't want to sell this game.
He's like, I didn't think it was going to sell.
Because I know if I sell last Friday, I'm never going to see that game again. Because I mean, it's Ares games. The same with Galaxy Defenders, which is another game that I'll probably. Of course, that has a container, like a Plano container. So that'd probably be worth something. Be like, let's dump out all these miniatures, and there's some Kickstarter exclusive stuff in there. But
I definitely picked up a copy of Coin Age recently for $1, and I opened it up, and they had pasted it on top of actual coins, and I was like, there's literally more than $1 in here. Like, at that point, why would you even bother? But sure, I'll take it. That's fine.
People have to play games. But I think that will wrap up our Jones Theory episode.
We finally did it.
Yes.
Yay.
It's only been so long.
There's much rejoicing.
What?
Much rejoicing.
Yes. Thank you for joining us, Evan.
Absolutely, anytime. Glad to be back on the show.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. Glad we are
No games this time.
scheduled.
Yeah, I know.
Have you
Noticed.
Is that a selling point last time?
Not necessarily. I mean, I don't get a lot of game time, so it's not bad. However, I did just get I did an entire weekend, not this weekend, but previous, of gaming, and got to game a little bit last night at Boozy Board Game Nights at Mr. Henry's. So.
I was going to actually make it to that until somebody's like, "Hey, I have a
Super Bowl party,
superb owl."
Superb owl.
Yes.
There was no football on where I was.
There was technically football on at Mr. Henry's, but I think there were 4 people paying attention to it out of the 48 that showed up. So, yeah, it was a good time. It was a lot of fun, actually. Some real good games. to play.
I was actually looking for something to do that wasn't football.
Yeah, apparently we got put on some radio station as, like, looking for something other than Super Bowl, and we're like, wait, what? Like, somebody came into the store and they're like, I just heard about you guys on the radio, and we're like,
Oh God,
what? Yeah. But no, it was great. And I mean, Boozy Board Game Nights have been real popular recently anyway, so yeah, first Sunday of every month, come on up.
Is there any more plugs you would like to do for your
Oh,
store?
man. Well, I'll do one for you specifically. Are you showing up Wednesday nights at the store from 6 till 9? We do open play for Star Wars Destiny, among other things.
Dun.
But you've expressed interest, and yet
Yes.
I have yet to see your face.
Let's see. Last Wednesday, I forgot my
your
cards.
dice, yeah.
The Wednesday before that, I was just receiving my booster
Cube,
box.
yeah.
Or was it 2 weeks ago? One of those.
2 weeks ago, you received a cube, or yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Like I just received the booster back, so like
do
I
you want to
could.
go this one instead?
I was asking you because I didn't know if you wanted to play board games since we haven't played board games together. You want to go again? Then I can cancel.
Yeah.
it. I mean, all right. Then I can make sure I have my deck.
We can play Destiny there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know if you actually were interested in
I
playing
have no
Destiny.
idea. I've never played it.
Okay, I can teach you.
Yeah, that's fine.
And we do have a tournament coming up, which I think I mentioned to you already. An Inish tournament, or not an Inish tournament, a Destiny tournament.
Yeah, I think I remember you mentioning that. I'm not. My decks
Sentences.
aren't good because I haven't opened all my boosters yet. I'm like open a couple, and then like every once in a while I was like, oh, I feel like opening one.
Whenever you get a little itchy, you're like,
Yeah.
I think it's time to open another.
Yeah, I just walk by, and I open it, I was like, oh, I already had this in the starter, let me get another one, and I open it. But the problem is, I'm not getting characters. Like, I only have 3 characters for the villains. I can finally field a 30-point villain, because all 3 characters. I don't have 30 points for the heroes yet.
Well, hopefully when you open the rest of your packs, you'll be good. But
And I've only opened like 1 or 2 legendaries, and there's 6 legendaries in the box. So I'm like, where are all these legendaries?
it'll be a fun day, apparently.
Yeah.
Have some good luck when you get to the end.
But like, I have all these cool yellow cards for the villains, but like no yellow villains. I just got like Boba Fett's flamethrower. No yellow villain to use it on. I got the one legendary is... No, I have 2 legendaries. So one is Crime Lord, which is a yellow attachment for the villains. Has a picture of Jabba the Hutt. No yellow villain.
I don't know how. Like, I kind of have an idea of like what you're describing because I've played Magic. And
Yeah.
It sounds very similar.
It is.
I do not know how you've resisted not just like shredding
Cracking it
everything
all
open.
yes, absolutely.
Because how do you even construct
Also-
anything? How do you
Also, I
even
kind of
begin to
don't
approach the
understand
game?
Why? But that's all right.
Right. Like
Like,
I
you have
used
these
to-
things,
I used to
and you
buy
want these things.
boxes
Yeah.
of the booster packs when I played Magic, and immediately upon getting home, actually not even getting home, the moment they got into the car, just foil wrappers everywhere, like and just cards lying out. It
Yeah.
did not have anything to do with them, like and. Because I couldn't do anything with them until they were out of the fucking pack. It's not
So there it like So how this?
Do you want me to help? Can I help?
So
You
how
haven't played, you've already got the feedback.
how it is pretty addicting. Like, oh, they're good. Like, but
yeah,
like,
foil packs are-
like how it builds is you have 30 points for a hero.
Yeah.
And like either one dice is worth one value or two dice is worth another value. And simple as that. You can only take 2 dice if you have 2 dice. Blah blah blah.
Sure.
So and then the rest is just pick 30 cards.
Okay.
That's it. So you can
What
deck
do you
build
mean
because
that's it. That's the game. That's where
I'm
the
just
game
saying
is being played.
like it doesn't. You can only deck build with what you have.
It's not deck building. It's deck construction.
Okay, you can only deck construct what you have, but like
That's
it's more so that since.
You've never played Magic. I understand.
Yes, this is true. I've never played Magic. The closest I had was Overpower, old X-Men game. I'm so bitter that I don't have it anymore.
All right. So hopefully, at least one of you, if not both of you, will see you on Wednesdays.
It'd be a good excuse to go.
Yeah, I
down
can, and I can bring a couple foil packs, and you can open them up.
There you go. Just don't let the other guys see.
Why?
You have to share with the class. But
They're
yeah,
mine. I pay
coming
for
out,
them.
coming out on Wednesday.
You say
Some
6 to
Destiny.
9.
6 to 9.
So it's
every
just
Wednesday.
casual play.
It is casual play. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, we'll be doing a tournament coming up later, but that's going to be on a Saturday, not on a Wednesday.
I'm afraid of tournaments, especially with like the CCG crowd and like there's
Oh yeah, that's cutthroat.
and just like them talking about their builds. That's why I was like exclusively asking you about casual play. Just kind of like, oh, this would be cool to have these 2 guys, and people are like, oh, that's not a good combination. Look, 2 cards, you'd lose. Like,
Thankfully, the Destiny crowd hasn't gotten there.
They will.
Or at least not in our store. They haven't. So.
They
well,
will.
because it's casual play.
They will.
Of course, they're all very like just trying to help each other out and
That's good.
grow the community. They're doing real good. I really like them. There's some good guys
Do you
involved.
use Netrunner there too?
We do get Netrunner there. Yeah, Netrunner's kind of
Waning?
petering out. Yeah, I think it's gotten to the point now where it's like you've got so many packs that have come out that no one wants to get into it.
Well,
Because
they
it's-
only keep the past 5 active.
Right. But people still like
Want the
have learned the game and the way it plays based off of all the packs,
Yeah.
and like people don't know where to start and everything, and it's
So
definitely
you do a reboot. Like, here's a new core pack.
almost yeah. But yeah,
But then they'd have all the backlog of. It's like putting out the second edition of Game of Thrones card game.
crickets.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah. Thursday
I
nights,
played
They made all of the first edition cards obsolete, essentially.
There's a Game of Thrones card game. Yeah. I played the board game. Thursday nights.
open gaming from 6 till 10. That's also real fun. I try to be there as often as possible because
You can play
we've been getting like 48 to 50 people regularly coming into the store and just playing all sorts of stuff.
Cool.
So besides that, all sorts of different events. It's all on our Labyrinth dc.eventbrite.com or the Labyrinth Game Shop Facebook page. We try to keep all of our events up to date. So,
Cool.
but yeah.
Yes, that will do it for this episode. As I said, all social medias. You can follow us on NT Board Games. We're all over the place, and we have a Patreon. So if you like this podcast and video stuff and writing stuff and all that stuff, NT Board Games is our Patreon. You can throw money at it, and also you find out in advance of when we do live streams if you're a Patreon supporter. Otherwise, you'll just have to find out when I post it on Twitter and Facebook. Like, oh, look, there's a live video going on. I wish I knew that in advance. I could prepare. Maybe if I become a Patreon supporter, I can. That's real life.
That's clearly what all of your listeners sound like, right?
All right. See ya.
Let's play some games.
Okay, bye.